the privilege of serving as your host throughout this 3-day conversation series. Wherever you are joining us from across the world, thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us. The video session was created because we believe the future belongs not to only those who learn technology, but to those who use technology to solve meaningful problems. Over the next 3 days, we won't simply be talking about programming languages, AI tools, or the latest trends. Instead, we'll be exploring bigger questions like, is tech still worth pursuing? What does it really mean to become a builder? How do we move from learning to creating solutions that improve lives? If by the end of these 3 days, you begin to think differently, ask better questions, or identify one problem you can solve in your community, then we'll be having, yeah, that means we are achieving our purpose of this particular program. Tonight, we begin with one of the biggest questions in technology. Is there still a future in tech in the age of artificial intelligence? So let's find out. Priscila is an AI, ML, and just uh, if I didn't pronounce that way, Geospatial engineer working at the intersection of artificial intelligence and real-world problem solving. Um, real-world problem solving. We are delighted to have you, Priscilla. Welcome, ma'am. Then we have David John, joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. David is an AI systems architect who designed intelligent systems and help organizations leverage AI in practical ways. David will be joining us a bit. I think he's here already. Hi, David. Are you here with us? Okay, David is not here yet. So yeah, David will be joining us later due to work commitments, and we look forward to welcoming him when he arrives. So, so each of our speakers, in 1 minute, tell us who you are, tell us what you currently do, and what exactly, what project is it right now that you're working on. So the audience wants to hear from you.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Priscila Adhiambo. Um, I wear a lot of hats. So currently, I'm a geospatial engineer. I work with a startup that helps farmers get agricultural insights. So it's called Lima Labs. So basically, we analyze the farm data, and then we're able to help the people to know the state of their crops, if they're stressed or not, and all that insights to help them not mitigate losses, basically. Apart from that, I have a background in urban and regional planning, and I've done software engineering. So I usually define myself as a digital leader. It sounds a bit technical, but basically it means that I love coming up with tech solutions to a couple of challenges. And what what I love to do is take part, compete in hackathons because I'm quite very competitive. I believe as this session goes on, you'll get to know more about me, and I'll also get to learn from you because every session is a chance to exchange ideas and also expand our minds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla, and we are honored to have you here today. Over to John Okyere.
Hi guys. All right. So my name is John Otre, and then I'm a software engineer and a cloud practitioner from Ghana, here working with Kayaba Labs and Biko Farms. So at Kayaba Labs, we help bootstrap startups and engage them to go live and then gain users. Also at Biko Farms, we build platforms which enables farmers, local farmers, to access loans in just a interval of 1 week, to restrain them from having logged in, or in the sense of their credit score not engaging whenever they need to access funding. Yeah, so my journey has taken me through the field of cloud computing and then cybersecurity, as well as the blockchain field, not much, not to talk of the AI, and also building developer communities across different parts of the world. So like through opportunities like the Connect, I've had a couple of chance to be at other countries, compete in hackathons, and also contribute on major projects. Yeah. So over time, being curious has led me along the line. Also helped founded initiatives like my startup, Okyere Technologies, and also along the line, I've also built projects and contributed to a whole lot of open source communities, as well as like speaking, just as this one, engaging people who are enthusiastic into getting to the field of tech. And what excites me most today is like helping young ones and upcoming people who have their eagerness and enthusiasm see that technology is not just a thing, like not about writing codes, but then it's about creating solutions, and then like creating solutions which can impact people and their lives at scale. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for that. That's really interesting. So we're really honored to have you here today and welcome. So as we said earlier, David John is on his way because of work. So he'll be joining us later. So yeah, please let me know if it's audible enough and on YouTube. If anyone joining from YouTube, let me know if the speakers are audible. So let's start getting your comments, and we appreciate that. So, John, you work at the intersection of Web3 and artificial intelligence. So many people see this as separate words. From your perspective, like, yeah, where is technology really heading, and what opportunities would learners begin preparing for today?
Hi, babe. I didn't get your question clearly.
Okay. So, yeah, before I go again, so we're having like three phases for this particular session today, and this first one we're talking about the future of technology. And the question to you, John, I said you work at the intersection of Web3 and artificial intelligence. So many people see this as separate words. From your perspective, where is technology really heading, and what opportunities should learners begin preparing for today?
Okay. Thank you once again. I think when we talk about AI, artificial intelligence creates intelligence, right? And then you take Web3, Web3 creates ownership, right? So when you combine these two, you create systems where people don't just use technology only, but then they participate in it and also benefit from it, right? So, for example, when you talk about artificial intelligence, AI needs data, and then it also needs computing power as well as trust, right? But when you take Web3, for instance, it provides a transparent incentives and also a verifiable ownership ledger where users can be able to attain any information that they want to get, right? So in the future, I see these two technology folds as like where creatives, right? For example, when you take content creators, for instance, they may own their data sets, right? So creators may own their data sets, which would train the AI, right? Right? With the help of like Web3. And also another example here could be communities may also like collectively govern AI systems instead of like a few corporations controlling everything. So for example, if you take ChatGPT for instance, because we are very conversant with ChatGPT, whenever you want to have a conversation with ChatGPT, you can just take your data and then give it to ChatGPT, right? The AI firm, which is OpenAI, consumes your data and then they can decide to just sell your data because you just fed them with your data and then they own the platform. So you have attributed to the privacy and policy of this. So they have overall access to it. But then when you come to the Web3 side of this, you'll be able to govern your own data because anything that you do on the blockchain, you own it, right? So you have overall access to it, right? So I think the biggest opportunity here isn't about building another AI chatbot. Yes, but then it's about building systems that ensure people own the value that they help create, right? Yeah. So I think, yeah, that is a bit I could share about working between the intersection of like Web3 and AI. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really insightful. So, what do you think? Like, if someone wants to start learning today, where would you advise them to focus on?
All right. So I think right now most people are really chasing prompts and then AI tools. Meanwhile, in this tech ecosystem, over a couple of months, opportunities are really, really emerging. If you take in the AI ecosystem like this, there is the trend of AI safety and governance, right? AI governance. Also, many people have not also focused and then dropped their insight into data engineering. Yeah, there are local languages for AI. If you're able, if you are very conversant with your local language, you can just create a model, right, for your own context, local use case, whereby people in your community can just have a tool whereby they would be able to communicate in their own local languages with the AI model, right? And also, if you take data identity, for instance, right, you realize that most of this in Africa, most of our systems doesn't correlate or correspond together. Not to talk more or less like Europe. If you take Europe, for instance, you take a changing area, most of their systems correlate with each other, but then not in Africa. Even now that I'm in Ghana here, if I move to Nigeria, for me to even register SIM card would be a challenge. So here is the case where whereas there is a digital infrastructure whereby um, all African data has been merged together, right? Not merged together publicly, whereby each country, of course, every country should have this sovereignty, right? And then whereas I would be able to go to maybe country A and then have access to healthcare, have access to a whole lot of um, menial like accessibility to services will be a challenge as compared to that of Europe, right? And also, if you take climate, climate has been a thing of the past, like for 2 to 3 years now. It has been booming, and then most countries are really, really investing into climate technologies, right? Also, as well as healthcare technologies, in a couple of years, we've seen AI doing amazing things in the healthcare aspect, healthcare space, where by God's grace, some countries has been developed. Doctors are able to like operate remotely, right? And also, healthcare data are being governed by really great infrastructure, right? And if you take develop infrastructure, of course, there are a whole lot of tools. You can also focus on like creating human AI collaboration tools, right? You should create solutions centered for human use cases. And I think the last thing I would add here is I think the next generation of like tech billionaires may not build the smartest AI, but then they may build the systems that made or make AI useful for specific communities. Example, Africa does not need another generic chatbot, right? It needs another AI which understands like Yoruba, which understands like Chi, Ga, Ewe, Hausa, Swahili, and then realities of local businesses. I could say to this point that, of course, if the AI is to make or is to be accessible, whereby in the case that maybe an individual in the African country or a neighborhood or a remote area is unable, right, to hasn't even had a formal education in another language, right? They will be able to take a smartphone and then communicate with their smartphone as a tool, right? And then get a feedback or a great output. It would be really exciting, right? So I think my last word here would be you shouldn't attach yourself or attach identity to a tool per se, but then attach it to an ability to solve problems in the local context, right? Because if you take 10 years ago, there was BlackBerry, right? Now ask
Yes.
yourself, where are these BlackBerry developers? Most of them have disappeared. Where are these
Mm.
Flash developers? Most of them have disappeared, right? So I would
Yes.
say tomorrow, if we take tomorrow, some AI tools is going to also disappear too. So if I could put this question to everyone, each and everyone on this call, like what would remain valuable? And then you should know your critical thinking should come in first perspective. And then your communication skills also matter. Yes, the value you provide. Product thinking, because of course you want to work at the intersection of technology. You'll be dealing with software as a service, platform as a service, business as a service, B2B, B2C. Yes, what are you working on? Product thinking. You should also know if it's a software that you are developing, you need to know how the system works, how systems communicate with each other, whether from networking, cloud, blockchain, security, whatever it is, right? You need to have the context of systems thinking, right? And also the ability to adaptability, like adapt between teams, because you might end up working with people from different cultures, different contexts, different countries. How do you adapt between these teams, right? Yeah, so the people AI replaces first are not the least intelligence, but then they are the least adaptable because if you are unable to adapt in like let's say if you are unable to adapt in teams, how do we then retain you? Of course, we can build an AI automation, but just to eliminate you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that, John. So, from what he said now, I was able to get a lot of things and learn a lot. So, if anyone should start, you should know how to, you should understand the system first and be able to adapt. Then, whatever you want to solve, I mean, whatever thing you want to build, attach it to solve problems in the local context. And he gave some examples of, someone coming from Ghana now to Nigeria to get the SIM card will be very, very difficult. So, what are those things that can help us solve these problems? And some kind of gadgets that we can use that help us like communicate properly so that even in the area of healthcare, so there won't be any problem saying that I'm changing the location. And when I get to this location, I won't be able to access healthcare because I am from there or there, or because I don't have enough thing to requirements that it's needed. So thanks so much for that, John. And That's really, really very important for us to know. So, Priscilla, you've worked with artificial intelligence in Geospatial. Please correct me. Geospatial technology. So, how is AI changing the way we solve real problem? I mean, how is AI changing the way we solve real world problems? And what excites you most about where this field is heading?
That's a very good question. And there's a lot to be excited about AI. If I give an example, I'm a geospatial analyst, and for someone to be able to get data, satellite images, and process them and get the numbers they want and the visualizations they want, it used to take weeks. It used to take me 2 weeks to even put something together. But with AI, I was able to get over 200 references and reports on the topic that I was researching on. And I was able to get visualization, a web app visualization of the maps. And I was also able to get numbers, statistics, and all that in one day. So it just blew my mind because I was like, oh my God, like how, like, it was just so exciting. And I'll just build on what John said. It's called adaptability because when you have experience in your field, let's say you are a medical, you have experience in medicine, and adaptability means you explore how you can use that your experience AI to advance your experience. Because if, for example, I have no idea about medicine, and I try to do what you do with AI, I'll come up with very many errors. I'll really make mistakes and all that. But you have an advantage. You've already studied what you are doing in your field. So I'd say the easiest entry point on AI is building on what you building on your experience. So for example, if your experience is teaching, and so you can use AI to see how you can improve your curriculum. So you can tell AI, this is my curriculum, how can I make it interesting and all that and all that. So the exciting thing is, even for a teacher, if what took them weeks to make a lesson plan, they can do it in 2 days or in a day. So it's expanding our opportunities in that aspect. And also, it makes us very much efficient. Because let's see, for example, a web developer, um, you take if you're coding from scratch, you'll take maybe 3 hours trying to figure out how to locate the div, which visualizations to put, what else to do. And then you find, after spending all that hours, 2 days, 3 days, the client does not like what you built. And
Mm.
instead, if you had used AI, you would iterate. You'll use like that 30 minutes building this, and then the client tells you, I don't like this, make this and this and this and this. It makes you to iterate fast. And that is actually what really matters right now. Someone who can grow fast, fail fast, improve fast. So if you're someone who takes a week to get feedback from someone, even your employer, and then there's someone who takes a day to get feedback from an employer, that the person who takes a day to fail and improve will have an advantage over you. So I'd say AI, it's making us more efficient. And yes, so I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it really does. Thank you so much. Yes, and from what you said is true because a lot of us and even developers now, when they know how to use their AI tool very well, is making their work faster and easier. So you make your mistake. I mean, when a client give you work now, you're able to work with it with AI, and the clients complain about it. Then later you work on it again. Okay, yeah, so it makes it faster and even to understand. Even AI will help you break it down, the areas you do not really do well. Asking AI, I work on this. So what's really the cause? How can I improve? So teach me, what should I know? So AI is really, really helping. And yes, not just for the techies, for teachers, healthcare centers, and every other organization, AI is really, really helping. And these things are so yes, adaptability, be able to learn fast and yeah, so grow fast. So when you're able to learn fast, you're able to grow fast. And what can help you learn fast and grow fast? AI is helping right now. So that's when you can that's if you can actually use it properly. So AI is really helping. So Priscilla, what opportunities do you believe many young professionals haven't noticed yet?
Pardon, what opportunities?
Do you believe many young professionals have not noticed yet?
Okay, so the opportunity that I've seen that people are not yet optimizing are digital, what should they say, um, digital opportunities. And what would I'd say that they may seem complicated to begin at first, and then the biggest challenge is people wait to be ready in order to start. So for example, if you want to sell clothes online, you'd want to get to buy all the clothes, import all the clothes. Maybe if you're importing, you'd want to set up your store, and you'd want to get customers or feedback or validation of that idea before you start. So I feel people are sleeping on the digital opportunity. If you are in Nigeria, you can have your market virtual. You can have your virtual shop in Kenya, in Lagos, in Uganda. You can have your virtual shop worldwide. The only thing is that people complicate all these processes, because for example, for you to have your digital shop, you can start by being an affiliate. And personally, I'm also part of the people who are not taking advantage of that opportunity. And it's because it requires commitment and consistency. So the main thing that's making young people miss on these opportunities is commitment and consistency. And this also is as a result of wanting fast results. So someone day one, they'll start with the hype, they'll be all excited, and they'll start, like, if for example they're doing digital marketing, and they'll think through their content and all that and post. Day two, they start feeling a bit mm, relaxed, and then they don't, and then day three it goes into it, and then you find that they don't make as much progress as that. But I've seen a lot of young people coming up from nothing to actually um being very popular because of that consistency. And if I was if I was to dedicate, if I had, let's say, 100 days, if I was to dedicate something on myself for 100 days, I'd mostly do that. I would mostly focus on the digital marketing space. And it doesn't have to be a product, it doesn't have to be clothes, doesn't have to be shoes. It can even be yourself. You package yourself. Because I've had my friend, she's just completed, she's in her final year in campus. And she told me that she got a client on Instagram. And I was like, how did you get a client on Instagram? And she said it was because she was just posting about her thoughts on that space and all that and all that. So I believe everyone should be a digital marketer. And it doesn't have to be selling something. It can be packaging yourself. And also, it's something that I also read somewhere. The world does not know you. Nobody knows you, and nobody cares about you. And the one minute someone might want to check you out. And even these opportunities, people go to LinkedIn and check out your bio and your
Yeah.
background, and that is what makes some people to get shortlisted, and makes some people not to get shortlisted. So I'd say go big on digital marketing, either what you're selling or what you are or who you are or your thoughts and all that. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yes, in fact, that's really brilliant because it's true. It's true. No matter the organization you are, no matter what you do, digital marketing is very, very important. How do you put yourself out there? How do you sell yourself? You should not wait until you start selling a product. You want, okay, you have something to display out there. No, sell yourself. Put yourself out there. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people truly they want like just ordinary customer service, and they have to say, okay, do you have LinkedIn account or LinkedIn profile so we can just go through to know who you are more. So yes, people tend to like get shortlisted by what they have on their profile, who they are, and how they have sold themselves out there. So and recruiters, they decide with that, not just what you tell them, not just what you say or what you submitted. They want to know other things about you too, by how you put yourself out there on social media. So digital marketing is something very, very important for everybody, even at this stage that the world is going digital. David is not here yet. When he comes back, when he joins us, then we have we would like to hear from him also. So before that, mm, I'd like to ask everyone, the speakers, I will have to ask you this question, that which area of technology you believe will experience the biggest transformation over the next 5 years and why? Well, this question is not going to only the speakers. We can also answer, the audience, if you have what to say, you can type. We would love to hear from you too. So, which area of technology you believe will experience the biggest transformation over the next 5 years and why?
Okay,
David?
so my response to this question would be when you talk about the technology that would have a biggest transformation in the next 5 years to come. For example, understand this, that technology has a broader perspective, in the sense that um, for example, there is software engineering, there is cybersecurity, there is cloud computing, there is DevOps, there is AI, blockchain, etc. But then let me give you some instances here where we can't sideline one aspect of it and then focus on the other.
Mm.
When you take cybersecurity, for instance, understand this. Day in, day out, systems are getting interconnected. And the more interconnected they are getting, the more risk they have, right? So in this perspective of cybersecurity, is going to have a big transformation, in the sense that there are a whole lot of intrusion detection systems which is going to pop up, integrated with AI, right, to help automate infrastructures, right? Yeah. And then if we come to cloud solutions also, day in, day out, we tend to work with data. Even communication, most of our communication, conversations, even AI chatbots, models are being trained with data. Where are these data or models stored? Right? Most of these models are stored on the cloud infrastructures, and then they consume a lot, right? So if you talk also about blockchain, I believe many of you have heard of blockchain and Web3. And here is the case. Let me take you back to history. When you take the web, we used to call something web one. When you take web one, there was instances whereby you could send SMS to um, a colleague, right? And then we all know what SMS means, like sending hi, hello, without images, like emojis and using keypads, right? And then here lies the case when years came, technology was evolving. Web 2 came. Web 2 came with the interaction of social media, where we had the use of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, yeah, social media. So here lies the case. Now, if I could tell you anything you do on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, these companies own your data, and then they decide what to do with your data, you believe it, right? Yes, because they can decide today, okay, let's sell this data for this amount. You have no right of saying no or whatever, right? They can decide to sell it without you even knowing. That's why, for example, you might not subscribe to maybe any ads, but then you see maybe you visited some browser like Till, you didn't buy anything, but then when you open Facebook, you realize that most of their adverts starts to pop up on your screen, right? Right? So they give you whatever they want. They control your data for you, not you. But as time goes on, a new technology has evolved, blockchain, where we have Web3. Web3, you read, you write, and then you own your own data. Anything you want blockchain belongs to you. And then it's verifiable. It's easy for everyone to just verify it, right? Because everything is duplicated on ledgers or nodes, right? So it becomes really easy. And then you decide what to do with your data because you own the keys, you own the access to your data, right? You don't hand over your keys to someone else. You own everything, right? Yes. So think what I could tell like a young African who dreams of upcoming, like what they should focus on is uh I would say they should focus on becoming a builder, not just a learner. Why? Because, okay, let me do this in. If you focus on becoming a builder, not just a learner, then I think there are some things that you need to know. First of all, you need to learn AI, right? Learn how AI works, prompt engineering, right? Also, you learn software engineering fundamentals if that's the path that you want to take. But then I think you need to understand how systems work before you could even venture into most of these tech fields, right? Also, you need to also learn and master how businesses works. You also need to learn how to communicate. Now, sit down, ask yourself, what are some of the problems that people are facing? What are some of the solutions that I can build that if 10 of my friends are able to use it and generate income for me, it would be very beneficial to them. You get me, right?
Yeah.
So I would say if we take the whole internet as a whole from a I'll talk from a software engineering perspective or from a tech enthusiast perspective. The internet has removed like geography. Geography like has not imposed geography as limitations to tech enthusiasts or beginners. But then it has not also removed skill as a requirement because in any use case, before even a company hires you, of course, many companies are adapting with AI. But then they still requires individual who understand system thinking, who knows their work, who knows their shits, right? Who knows how to use the tools. Not just tell them you're a developer, they should hire you. Because if you talk about, oh, developer, I'm a dev, I can build with AI. And me, the HR in the company can also just decide to also use ChatGPT to build it and then save the money. Not to talk of the CEO. You think the CEO paying like software engineer who has a skill $10,000? You think like he or she isn't feeling it? He would definitely. He would. So my short and then conversation here is like your biggest competition, right? It's no longer like the person sitting next to you in, let's say, Lagos, Nairobi, or Accra, right? Then your competition should be global. And then your opportunities should also tailor to global, to because when you focus on one tech perspective as a whole, you try to limit yourself to learning others. And then like, before you even become a software engineer, you need to also understand basis of networking. So in all this, it's intercorrelated or interconnected. You can't just leave one and focus on the other. You need to have the basics of each of them. Try to understand how they correlate with each other, how they interconnect, how they come together. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, John. That's really, really insightful. And yes, so the question was, which area of technology you believe will experience the biggest transformation over the next 5 years? And John was kind of explaining to us that number one, we need to understand what networking means, understand the system, understand the business. Then do not limit yourself to just one area in tech, explore. So yeah, so I think we have to understand first how to access. He explained the Web3 and how you can own your own data, control it, manage it by yourself. So thanks so much for that, John. So I would like to hear also from Priscilla.
Okay, so I would say that when you look at the technology graph, you see that it has really grown exponentially in the past 3 years, and every day you are hearing new advancements. The other day, you hear that you can integrate cloud in your Word document, in your Excel sheet. You can integrate it into that. You can make it manage your laptop, manage your files on your computer. And just the other day, Cloud is now able to create videos using prompts. You just like give it a prompt and then it
Yes.
does this, and you give it a prompt and it does that. So I'd say in terms of artificial intelligence, like the capability of what AI can do, is what will be mostly, it is what will be um, accelerating very fast. So in terms of, so there are different fields. So there is the field of medicine, there's the field of agriculture, there's the field of entertainment and art, there's the field of education, ed tech, and all that. So in the next 5 years, I see AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning dominating these fields. So in areas where we relied on, let's say, just teachers coming physically to class and teaching us so that we get the lessons, we'll be able to like have these sessions recorded and taught to machine learning models, and we'll be able to have a simulation of the teachers. So, which will mean that there will be a lot more. Although the only catch is, as John had mentioned, data centers. So the more artificial intelligence is being developed, the more demand for data centers will be. And I'd say Africa, currently we are still more of consumers more than creators of all this technology. So I'd say it depends. It depends. It depends on our ability to build infrastructure that is able to keep up with all these developments. So it's actually still streaming. So I think we can just proceed as we wait for her to catch up. So, John, have you been in any accelerator program or incubation or such programs?
Yes, yes. So over the past 2 years, have been like three or four residencies. Yes, if I could talk about, right. And currently, I'm in an incubation program of which I'm working on two projects for Biko Farms and then Kayaba Labs, right? So we are working on a budget of 40,000, around $40,000 to help bootstrap them and go to markets. So I'm working on these teams as a CTO for both projects and also strategies, right? I focus on managing this platform.
I'm not sure if it's my internet, but you just hang.
Hi, please, did you lost me?
Yeah, it was just for a minute.
Hi, did you lost me in a bit?
You're talking about $40,000 in order to push, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, we are under incubation, right? And then we are working on a budget of around 40,000.
Okay, so it seems like we lost the others, but we'll just give them some time to join back. Yeah, so let me see what's over here. Okay, so Victoria is saying that we can continue until she's able to rejoin. So meanwhile, I'd also like want to know the people who are in this session, what are you exactly looking for? So if you're able to like add that in the chat, if you're able to like ask, yeah. Okay. So someone added it on the chat. Someone is saying, let me just go through the chat. So it's saying, hi, your stream has reached India. Great discussion, guys and girls. The screen has gone blank. Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So I'm checking out the chat and it's quite good. So I'd like to share a tip of what I usually do. I can just share my screen a bit. Let me just get a new chart. So this tip really helped me when I was okay. So Anjani is asking, how do you plan on preparing for the AI era? How do I plan to prepare for the? How do I plan on preparing for the AI era? So it's basically what this session is about. It's about positioning yourself um, to to grow fast with AI. So, for example, if today AI is able to create documents or create reports from a meeting, in order to prepare yourself, you should be able to like see how it works, go to YouTube, just like be curious. I think that's the main thing, being curious, because when you're curious, you're able to learn fast, and also you're able to like move with the tide, because catching up is a bit difficult that being on the being up to date with all that. And how to make that practical is an example of my current work. So my current work is about geospatial analysis. And what I learned in school is actually just the surface of what I'm actually doing. Because today you're being told to do an analysis of some data, and then tomorrow you're supposed to make something, to add some improvement on something. And sometimes you have no idea, you're totally clueless on how this thing is done. So for instance, let me just say a case study. Wanted to expand our agri our AI, our smart agriculture, to a new region. And that was about setting up an edge node. It's a bit technical, but you just but I'll just make it as simple as I can. So that entailed like being able to share the machine capabilities to a remote machine. And in order to do that, I just asked Cloud, the AI that I use mostly, and how to navigate it. And it was like, oh, you need to set up a virtual machine. And I was like, oh my God, I've never like set up a virtual machine. I mostly just use existing virtual machines. But I was able to just tell me step by step, like you'd tell a baby, like you'd tell a baby on how to do it. And I was able to like do that step by step, because I realized it also comes down to how you prompt it. Because if you just tell it you want to learn how to do something, it might overwhelm you with a lot of information. So I usually just tell it, break it down into step by step, and through that I'm able to start from zero to achieving something that I never even thought I would. And also what would I say, an example of a recent presentation I did. So the recent presentation was about using satellite data to tell flood risk in East African cities. And I had done my research, and I had found a lot of information on flood risk on East African cities. And in 2 weeks, I had researched about 12 papers. But then I said, okay, let me now check what AI has. And in an 30 minutes, it had generated for me 200 credible resources on flood risk. And I was like, okay. So like as a human, I'm just able to like do much, but with AI, I was able to like get relevant documents over 200. And I was able to like crack them down, like I was able to aggregate them together and I use also AI to build a dashboard from that. So basically, what it means is that it's just echoing what I had previously said. Based on your experience, use AI to see how you can make it faster. And also, I would like to ask Anjan and anybody in the chat, what is your background? Um, what do you study? What is your field? And maybe I could see how we can use AI to make you more efficient in that, or just see how someone can use AI in that aspect. Now, I think today I'm officially a yapper. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's true. So Anjan is saying that I think AI will not replace developers, but it will create non-developers to develop many things. Yeah, that's a very valid point. So as a non-developer, you're able to create a website in 2 minutes. You're able to like do a lot, create marketing content, create visuals, and all that. So like what I also saw is if you are a developer, you still have an edge in this AI era because you know what entails the infrastructure of what entails in a full a full application or a full website. So me as an developer, yes, yes, exactly. It will reduce the barrier to entry and all that. And the what I've noticed about AI, it's if you don't understand how it works behind the scenes, you'll be having a black box. A black box means like I know how it works, but I don't know how it works. And I know it works, but I don't know how it works, which will make it very difficult to debug something. So yes, so it will make it easy to build out products faster and reduce the barrier to entry. Yeah, so that's very valid. So are you a developer? Because if you are a developer, you'd know that it's easy to spot when AI is like just building to building what building something that's not you okay, you are able to know exactly what you want rather than someone who does not have that background experience. Hmm. Yeah, okay. I'm getting very insightful.